from KC Johnson, Bulls insider for NBC Sports Chicago. More to the point, I've reported before what their asking price was. All-star level talent, first-round picks, or both. And my sense is that it has dropped significantly. That is on Zach LaVine. All-star level talent, first-round picks, or both. And my sense is that it has dropped significantly. So what does that now mean? That's from KC Johnson, Bulls insider for NBC Sports Chicago. So now, Chris, what is your guess on what the price tag is for Zach LaVine? And does it change your thought process? I saw some people saying it might even just turn into a salary dump, and they're stuck with this awful contract. And some of it is, what have you done for me lately? We haven't seen Zach LaVine play, right? So it's not as if you can say, oh, well, he's on the top of people's minds because he had that crazy run at the end of the season. He hasn't been playing. No. So that makes the contract look even worse.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. I think that he's going to get salary dumped. Why would a team give up anything significant for Zach LaVine? Not because the player he is, but the money. Like, you cannot justify bringing on a guy who is not going to be anywhere near your number one option, your best player on the floor, when Zach LaVine is making $43 million this year, $45 million the following season. And then the year after that, he's making $48 million. You have just about $150 million that you still have to pay Zach LaVine. Mm-hmm. And he's going to, if he comes to Sacramento, he's at best second option, right? Maybe probably third scoring option, probably second scoring option. But Sabonis is clearly going to have a more important role than LaVine. LaVine's going to be here to be mainly a scorer, better be healthy at that as well. No, I mean, I think if you're going to be paying that kind of price, I mean, just to even get to the point where the Kings can reach that $43 million salary, they're going to have to ship off Harrison Barnes. You're probably also going to have to ship off Kevin Huerter. That just brings you to like $30 million. And then I think you have to get probably to 35 to 37. You don't have to reach exact anymore with the new CBA, but you have to be within a certain percentage of it. And I think that fits it in. So you're going to have to get rid of probably more than what he's actually going to be worth at this point. Because if you're getting rid of Barnes, Huerter, first, like, it just becomes too much for a guy that's just not already worth the value. Like that contract is an anchor. You cannot add more players to your team because Zach LaVine is anchoring your salary. And I think you need to be compensated for that. You need to be able to receive a first round pick back. If you can get Alex Caruso back, I'm all in on it. To me, that's the only way you can get rid of LaVine, is either by attaching a first round pick, it's sad I've already forgotten his name, but oh my gosh, their top 4 pick, the really
Kobe White?
No. They're why can I not think of his name? He hasn't been playing a lot recently, but he was their top 4 pick. If you
Patrick
Williams, thank you, Patrick Williams. Or if you can add in Caruso, those are the only ways. You have to add something valuable to Zach LaVine in order to get rid of him. I don't know why, unless you're the Lakers, you're just going to say, yeah, we'll take Zach LaVine just because we are desperate for talent. Kings need talent. I don't think they're that desperate for talent. They can get Kyle Kuzma. They can go other directions without paying that ridiculously hefty price for Zach LaVine.
So when you see the words attached to Zach LaVine now as salary dump, to you, this means
that's an asset. That's an asset.
We're going to give you something else, just so we can get rid of this salary situation.
Absolutely. And just give us matching salary. That's it.
Right.
That's all we're looking for.
Well, what's funny to me is that the Bulls are in this weird position where now this comes out, everybody's eyes are going to get wide to think, oh, great, we'll take Zach LaVine and an asset. So then they're going to have a lot of suitors again because everybody would sign up for Zach LaVine and Alex Caruso.
Right.
So then the Bulls are then going to say, wait, hold on. Well, now if we have all these suitors for Zach LaVine and Alex Caruso, well, then now the price tag is going back up. So how does this thing?
It's not for Zach.
It's not for Zach.
It's for the other piece.
Right. But
the
then
other piece is really what you're trading for.
But it still gives the Bulls a little bit more power into choosing what they want in return. So
Maybe.
But let's just say, fine, Kevin Hurt, if the best the Kings can do, and to your point, maybe they just don't go for Zach LaVine.
Right.
But if the best the Kings are willing to do is Kevin Herter, Harrison Barnes.
That's at the least what they have to do.
What they have to do, and I don't know, Davion, whoever it is to make it match.
Mm-hmm.
But the Kings are thinking, well, I'm not going to give up a pick
for
Zach LaVine at this point. I think that the Bulls could go from, okay, I think the Bulls could still get a tiny victory out of this, because I do think there will be enough suitors. If you just bite the bullet and attach Alex Caruso, I do think that the Bulls, and to a lesser degree Patrick Williams, I do think the Bulls they will have enough suitors if they're willing to just say, fine, we'll attach another asset. And I do think because of that will take the Kings out of the conversation, because there will be a better package, I think, for what the Bulls need.
Yeah.
Because do the Bulls need Harrison Barnes and Kevin Herter for what they want to now do and essentially blow it up?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think I would need Harrison Barnes and Kevin Herter. And Kevin Herter is not that. Kevin Herter is 26, but I just think somebody else is going to have a better package.
Would you rather have like Rui Hachimura and,
I'm big on Rui, you know that.
Yeah,
I'd rather have Rui than Harrison Barnes.
Yeah, but if Rui is all that you're getting and you're not getting...
Would I rather have Harrison Barnes and Kevin Herter than Rui by himself? Then no.
Well, yeah, let me see here. The Lakers contracts. Rui makes $17 million, which is pretty much what Harrison Barnes makes. So it probably might even have to be like a sign and trade D'Lo and Rui for Zach LaVine. Possibly could be something they do. Yeah, I mean,
I would do that if I'm the Lakers.
I definitely would do it if I think the Lakers are probably the most likely candidate. And I mean, this even becomes a discussion of, even if they would take Harrison, I just don't want Zach LaVine on the team. I just think that there's better, cheaper options. Like I would much rather have Kyle Kuzma twice than have one Zach LaVine. I just think that
you're going to pay for
value
that
proposition.
Right. It's going to cost you.
I would much rather do the 13th pick and a 27 or 28 first round pick than do Harrison Barnes, Kevin Herter. And I think that could actually be it if that's all you're trading for Zach LaVine. But, just everything that would go into it. I just feel like the better value proposition is bringing in a guy like Kyle Kuzma. I just don't think, I think we've also seen enough out of Zach LaVine to where he's hurt. And if he's not hurt, then he's really just an offensive weapon. He's never really been in a winning situation before. And he's one of those guys who I don't know how much you can put, again, toothpaste back in the tube. He already kind of is used to getting this certain workload. I don't know how well he would adjust to taking that workload away. I would see a very similar situation to like how Bradley Beal performed this season, just not at all the guy that you thought you were trading for.
Yeah.
Unless it goes to a Lakers situation where, I think the Lakers will let him cook and he'll be great. But
it depends.
I don't know if it'll justify $43 million a year.
But would it be? But as far as Zach LaVine is concerned, would you rather? Here's the question: would you rather do Harrison Barnes, Kevin Herter for Zach LaVine, or would you rather run it back? What if those are the only two options? What if somebody else gets Kuzma? Would you rather run it back, or would you rather do Kevin Herter, Harrison Barnes for Zach LaVine?
I just believe that there's other options. I mean, LaVine was 10th on my big fish list. I would say that there's 9 other good options. Like I would just say there has to be something else to do. I just wouldn't. Zach LaVine would be my absolute last. Okay, 100%. I promised Mike Brown or Vivek that we were going to bring in a big name. I have to bring in somebody. That's really the only case where I would be wanting Zach LaVine.
Well,
I just think the money's way too big.
And then when he comes back to you bring up Mike Brown, is that another guy that Mike Brown would not be thrilled with?
Absolutely. I mean, it's just another offensive star. And, defensively, there's some potential with how athletic Zach LaVine is, but he's also a bit of a tweener where he plays more like a 2, but size wise, he's probably more of a modern day 3, but physically, he's not been there. And, not to mention he just hasn't been on the floor. I feel like Chicago was better with DeMar DeRozan leading the way than with Zach LaVine too. And I don't really know what to do with that. To me, that tells what kind of leader is Zach LaVine too?
Mhm.
Like, not to get into the intangibles of everything and, things that might not even matter, but I don't know what kind of presence Zach LaVine is necessarily bringing you that's changing your identity as a team. He's a good player. He's a great player. I mean, incredibly skilled. He's a great scorer. I think he was near 26 points per game these past couple of years, but and he's a lethal scoring option. And I'm not saying he wouldn't make this team better. 100%, he definitely would. He's a talent upgrade, but the hamstringing that he does to your cap situation is really tough to deal with. And then the other thing is too, you're stuck with him. I mean, if you trade for Zach LaVine, there is no, oh man, this really didn't go how we thought it was going to go. Let's move off of Zach. You're stuck. And if things don't go well with Kyle Kuzma, I think you can get rid of a $22 million per year contract.
This past season, Zach LaVine only played in 25 games. He averaged 19 points. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
The season before, he averaged 24.8 points. The season before, in 2022, he was 2 years back-to-back in 2021 and 2022 when he was 25 and 26. He was an all-star. And, since then, he's just been a bit injured, kind of a tougher situations. And, I'm looking at his assists per game, 4.2, 4.5. It gets to 4.9. So, as far as a playmaker, maybe he could do more of that. But, total rebounds, 4.6, 4.5, 5.0. So he's basically a 23, 4-4 guy, which ain't bad, but is it worth?
And what is he on a winning situation?
Right. Well, he was just cooking.
Yeah.
He was essentially
100%.
just cooking. 916-339-1140. Let's get to Dwayne. Wants to be a part of the conversation. What's up, Dwayne? You're on Stiles and Watkins. What you got for us?
Hey, what's going on, fellas, man? I had to chime in. I feel like if you can get Zachy for Harrison Barnes and Kevin Huerter, I never liked Kevin Huerter, man.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? He don't have enough in his bag, man. His deficiencies always show up.
Mm-hmm.
And Harrison Barnes is getting a little old, and the way I saw Zion abuse him last year, I just feel like it's time to make a business move. So if you can get Zach LaVine, I feel like he'll have one of those revitalized years.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? One of those years where he tunes up again and gets it right. I feel like it'll be one of those years because he's a professional, man. He's a veteran. He's a high flyer, too. He's exciting. You run a lot of assists through Sabonis.
Right.
And your guards. So that 4.5 might work. So I just want to know what you guys think about that, man. I said you make that transition and you roll with Zach LaVine.
Thanks for the call, Dwayne. Great stuff. Yeah, I would say straight up,
it works.
Like I said, besides, it's not a matter of, and I think, Chris, you're kind of saying the same thing. Is it better than doing nothing? Yeah. If you're asking me, would you rather run it back or trade Kevin Huerter and Harrison Barnes for Zach LaVine? Yes, I'm doing it. Mm-hmm. But as far as the list, you, Chris, and I'm not trying to speak for you, you'd rather give up a little bit more to get Brandon Ingram.
Yeah.
Give up a little bit more to get Kyle Kuzma. Yeah. But to be fair, if neither of those things work, because these are the same names, we're all shopping at the same place,
100%,
and everybody wants the same assets. If Brandon Ingram doesn't work or the price tag gets too high, if Kyle Kuzma, same idea, somebody else gets him, the price tag gets too high, I think it becomes a conversation of Zach LaVine. It also becomes a conversation of whether or not you have Malik Monk. Because again, Zach LaVine can play the three, I think.
I think so.
I think that would still work. But if you lose Malik Monk, now do you go get DeJounte Murray? So I think Zach LaVine is on my list. I think it just remains to be seen how high he is on the list based on other things happening around the league. Coming up next, we continue the conversation.